So this is Astral back here again. If you watched part one of the video, and hopefully you did, I kind of gave a brief overview of a few of the recurring events that go on in DanMachi. I also went over in depth a little bit about team synergy, how to build a team as far as adventures and assists go, teams that work together, that their attacks and the assists kind of work towards an end goal and boost your units while debuffing the units that you're fighting at the same time. I wanted to make a part two to the video to kind of go a little bit more in depth on some of the events, show how a team actually works in a fight as opposed to just giving you words, kind of how to, some of the little tricks to level up your units, etc., etc. So if we go back to our main, the first thing is you're going to have your character list, which is your CP gauges, your character points. Um, these are very important to level up. Now, mind you, there's a million and one of them, but you're going to want to level up your main units, and the reason being is you get rewards by leveling them up. Not only do you get Iris from the missions from leveling them up, which is a great way to get free Iris, by the way, but, I mean, you also, if you look, I get magic +3, strength +4, random daily talks that no one cares about, MP +3, etc., etc. Plus, you get Hero Fauna in there and Iris as well. And then, like I said, by leveling them up, you also complete mission rewards that give you even more free Iris. Like I said, this game literally awards you Iris just for participation. Like, you literally just get it thrown at you without doing anything. But the key thing with CP is, and like kind of the starting goal, which it will take some time to get there, but it's to try to level him up to about 31. If you can get the main units that you're using to CP 31, that's when you really get a bulk majority of the bonus stats that you can get for that unit. Now, mind you that about, I don't know, a year ago or whatever, they increased it to 50. But if you'll notice, after, what is it, CP 39, is the last tier that I actually start that I gain stats towards my characters. After that, it's just random fauna, iris, expelia books, whatever. But so 39 is the highest. You'll see a lot of it's just like HP, strength, magic, which is good, don't get me wrong. But level 31 is kind of what the, I guess you could say, the poster child CP was. Everyone wanted to get to 31 because that's when you get most of your max agility, so on and so forth. The other important thing to note is that you also have CP on all your characters in the game. Plus, you have your 3 characters that you can choose from that all have their individual CP levels as well. So, say I level up, I'm using Belle as my primary, whatever you want to call it, main screen character, and I level up Belle's adventurer to CP 31. He's still going to be CP 1 for Ice and Lefia, or Leafia, however the hell you want to say your name. So you want to try to level that CP up on all 3 units. I like to keep them even just for the Iris rewards, but you know, like most of us that are trying to be competitive in World Game, Record Buster, stuff like that, most of our primary units that we're using were CP 31 plus on all 3 characters. And then, like I said, not just that, you get the mission rewards for it as well. The Bell CP, level 27, 70, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of Iris to be gained by leveling up that CP, but you should be leveling it up on all 3 characters. You know, you're just going to get more free Iris awarded, you're going to get more stats added to your characters across the board, etc., etc. You can also level up the CP by talking to characters. I'm lazy and don't ever do it, but you get a free 100 CP there from, you know, each one. So 3 times a day is the reset for the characters. There's 6 characters that you can talk to on the home screen per character. So you get 600 CP 3 times a day per character. That's what, 612, 1800. And then you have 3 characters, so you do the math, right? You can actually gain a decent amount of CP that way. I'm just way too lazy to log in 3 times a day to talk to characters to gain 100 CP. So, anyways, back to the CP. You get presents for literally everything. I mean, you can see I'm stocked full of them. And the heart just basically means that that's the present that that character likes. You're going to get a higher boost. So like a Book of Nobility, I get CP plus 400 per Book of Nobility that I give Fells, as opposed to a Dungeon Cake, which would only give me plus 200. You can buy those. You can get them from doing the current event. So like if you're selling, well, let's not skip ahead. So if you're pulling banners and you got your bonds, I can sell my bonds if I had some, and I would get these, I'm going to say it wrong, but Cereals and Dolb, I think is what it's called, which is your little white and black crystals in the top right. And then I can go from there to the shop, and I can actually buy the CP items to level up my characters. Um, that's for for people that pull banners a lot. What we refer to as whales that spend a fair share of money on the game and have a lot. I mean, as you progress in the game further and you can become competitive in more of the events, i.e., Record Buster, Seventh Zone, War Game, you're going to get more iris that way, which is going to in turn allow you more free pulls on a banner, which is going to give you more duplicate bonds as you level up your characters and so on and so forth. So eventually you'll get to the point where you can buy all these items as well. When you're first starting out, you're probably not going to have enough to buy a lot, nor do I really suggest investing in them off the start, but it's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, CP is definitely important. Leveling that up to get the bonus stats on your characters. You also gain CP when you use the characters in battle as well. So, for you guys that are just starting out or maybe even just under level 100, even a little over level 100, if there's certain characters that are meta now, which I explained what meta meant in the first video, but that's just the characters that everyone's using that are really good. Like, you'll see Elise right there. Elise is definitely one of the meta characters right now. You can, just throw a party in with Elise and you're going to get CP for every mission that you complete with Elise and the team. So CP is one of those things that's definitely important to raise. War Game is really where it comes into play because of the agility. If you're trying to get above kind of that king threshold into Jester and even into Hero, you need agility to get ahead or your team is just going to get wiped, right? So that's where CP comes into place. The next thing is I kind of wanted to go over some of the events a little bit more. In the last video, we touched on War Game, we touched on Record Buster, we kind of touched on Monsterphilia. Like I said, Monsterphilia is one of those things where there's rewards that you get based upon the score that you place on that specific battle. There's YouTube videos out there for almost every single battle in Monsterphilia, so I'm not going to go crazy in depth. But that's where that team synergy comes into place. Hopefully my first video can kind of give you an idea of how to start building teams to progress through that. Another one that I kind of wanted to briefly touch on is Familia Wargame. I'm not going to go too far into it because I don't want to accidentally leak Astria's teams and stuff like that. I guess families don't like when you do that. But Familia Wargame is one of those things that comes around every like 3-4 months, something like that. I don't remember the exact timeline, but it's not a monthly event in any terms, and it's something that kind of gets your whole Familia, if you're in an active Familia, involved and kind of fun. World game style, definitely PvP based solely. So like right now, my Familia is rank 1. We'll see if we finish rank 1 after this battle that starts in 30 minutes. But just to give you a little briefing of how this works, and I can go ahead and scout because it's not going to show anything. You have inside and outside. Everybody forms their teams, which they're using basically their world game teams or teams similar to Fight. And you can see badges there. So every character shows 6 badges. Every team, the leader of your team can assign 2 lieutenants and a general. They're going to get extra badges. So don't quote me because I'm going to quote it wrong, but I think max badges, if you have a full Familia that's active, you use all 90 of your attacks and nobody loses, it's like 447 badges, I think. So basically the idea behind Familia Wargame is you're trying to beat the other team, which means you're going to want to pick battles that you can win. So like I said, I don't want to go too into detail because I don't want to leak teams. This will be outdated. This is the last fight of Familia Wargames, so I can go a little bit more into it. and these teams will be outdated by the time the next one comes around. But for like example, we have Kama here. So you can see Kama's team. It's an Earth physical team, which, you know, it's not a terrible team. It's not a great team. You know, it shows you the previous world game ranking. So 2240 is how they scored in the last war game. I can go ahead and safely say that I can beat this team. It is strategy based, so I can beat this team very easily. So I would probably not attack it, and I would leave it for a member in our Familia that was weaker for us. But Familia Wargame is definitely one of those things that's kind of a fun little event, especially if your Familia is competitive or you're competitive to, you know, do something a little different, I guess you can say. And basically how everything works in the end is, well, I can go ahead and show you more. So you have your status board. This is from the team that we fought last night. And you can see, you know, who lost, who won, how many badges they gained, etc., etc. And then you have, you know, your Familia's contribution points, how many points they scored that day, what the total they scored is. Like I said in my first video, I'm not very good, so I'm only ranked 10 in my fam out of 30. But, and then you can see total Familia ranking. So, like, right now, we're in first by, what, 30 badges, which seems like a lot, and it's really not, trust me. So we'll see how tonight goes. But, you know, Familia War Games is definitely something that's a little bit different. It's a fun little thing that they added into the game. It goes along with the latest season of the anime. Maybe not the latest season now. I don't know. I'm not super up to date. But, you know, you do have to be in a Familia to, you know, to join in this event. And I will say being in a Familia is a good thing. It's something that you should definitely do. Even if you're just starting out, join a random Familia. You know, as you get better and if you're taking the game seriously and you're continuing to play, you can always move upwards. But they recently just released Familia rewards. So there's another kind of perk to joining one. So, you know, as more people log in, you get free rewards. As you log in, you get free rewards. So right here you can say, you know, if I log in for 30 days straight, I get a free 4-star guaranteed pull. So it's definitely worth it to join a Familia. Not just that, you know, Familias have skills where, you know, you can get increased damage. So that comes into play in like Familia events like Familia Rush or Familia Royale when those events come out. So definitely join a Familia. Hopefully you can find one. Discord's a great way. Facebook's a great way, you know, to find one when you join the DanMachi pages. I know that there's a lot of people that are out there looking for active people to fill their spots, especially for these events, because what does every event give you? Free Iris, right? So the better you place, the more free crap you get. So yeah, definitely join a Familia. It's worth it. I know before they, you know, I started playing when the game first came out, there weren't Familias. When I joined up, I got lucky and joined Waifu, which is a top 10 Familia, and I've learned a heck of a lot about the game that I had no clue about before I joined. So just being around an environment of people that, you know, are interested in the game, will come up with strategies, you know, think outside of the box. You pick up a lot of little tricks that, like me personally, I would have never come up with. I was a solo player and I had no clue what I was doing. So Waifu is definitely a way for me to, I wouldn't say get more involved, but become more knowledgeable, and I started placing way better. So just to show you an example, when I first started playing, and this is why I was saying join a Familia, you can see, you know, I was ranked like 1500, 1900, 1800. I never broke 1,000. Then you can see all of a sudden, hey, look, I'm breaking 1,000. Well, guess about when I joined a Familia. You know, joining a group that, you know, knows what's going on in the game, it definitely changed my placement in the game itself, right? Except for the few times I got lazy right here and scored king. But, you know, joining a group of people that will help you, you can kind of bounce strategy off each other, etc., etc. It's definitely a good thing, and I tend to believe it keeps you interested in the game. I don't think I would have played 862 days if I was still a solo player. I would have probably given up by now out of complete and utter boredom. So, yeah, CP, join a Familia, you know, great things to do. I spoke about it a little bit in the other video, but clear the campaign or the story mode as fast as possible. If you can get one team with decent synergy, you don't really have to worry about what the resists are and stuff like that. Like, if you can honestly get 4 members that are level 80, even if the synergy isn't great, you should be able to clear most of the campaign. Like, you'll see I haven't cleared 47-6 very hard, but it's 135, right? So, and just so you can see, I'll call it up. Well, this is literally what I quest with. This is the team that I run. I mean, I'm using 2 darks, 2 fires. I have no synergy except I'm boosting my attack and my attack all, and I'm dropping physical resist, and I don't even know why I have Arde in there because I don't need to lower their damage. I kill in 1 or 2 turns with this team, and there's literally no synergy there, right? So, you know, a full set of level 80s can get you through the campaign without an issue. You might not S-clear every very hard. You might have to build a team to S-clear certain ones, but it'll get you through most of the games. So, you know, the first step I talked about in the first video, once again, building a team with synergy. Clear the campaign as fast as possible, especially right now. Stamina is reduced by 1/3 right now on the Bell side of the campaign. And you do get a lot of Iris, a lot of rewards for doing so. I'm sure I don't have to explain your daily rewards. I mean, clearly I've done all mine, but doing 1 boost, 1 Xphilia quest, 1 story, talk to 3 characters, and a status boost is pretty self-explanatory. Make sure you do that every day. Once again, it's just free rewards. You know what I mean? The other thing is there is always an event going on, and there is always a heroic trial going on. So I'm going to touch base on these just briefly because I don't want this video to drag on for 12 hours. So right now we have Astria Record Part 2. Part 1 is still up, of course, too. But we have Part 2. The main thing about these is trying to clear them all to very hard at the highest level, right? So very hard, 223 on very hard is the final mission for this event. That's going to give you your best rewards, and you can see the rewards towards the bottom. What, I don't even know, what is that, cheese? Hell if I know what's going on half the time. But the main thing is clearing that and then grinding it out after the fact using your extra stamina. Basically on every quest, somewhere around 5,600 of whatever the highest one, which is like, what, a bowl of soup that I have 72 of? I don't know where they come up with these images. But anyways, around 5,600 of those is the highest tier for rewards, somewhere in that ballpark area. Sometimes it's 7,600, but 9 times out of 10 it's around 5,600, and that's where you'll get gnome tickets from completing that. I highly suggest doing that, and after I give a little synopsis of this event, I will go ahead and explain gnome tickets and why they're so important. But so you have your normal exchange where, of course, and this is why it's good to grind the event, look at all the 4-star guaranteed tickets you get. I mean, right there is 3 guaranteed 4 stars if you only pull a single 4-star from that ticket. Not to mention your hero and flame medals, your hero with light, your ascension, and then of course the gnome tickets, right? Then of course you have your guild leveling or your familiar leveling materials, but yeah. And then of course you have the gacha, which, you know, the gacha is important to pull. You're going to get a lot of Falna that way, and if you're lucky, when you finish it, occasionally you'll get a hero Falna, which everyone seems to have 10 million of, except for me, which I can never seem to have more than like 10. So the reason I say to try to max out your events to 5,600 for those gnome tickets is simply because how important gnome tickets are. So if you, I went a little fast, but if you go to shop and you go to special exchange, you'll see your gnome ticket exchange, right? Right now I have 682 gnome tickets. The reason they're important is these star bonds, because these star bonds are for limited time adventurers only. That means, I'm sure that you guys kind of know what bonds are, but that means I get to bond up one character that's limited only, adventurer or assist, based upon which one I buy. Limited time only is just what it sounds. They're only sold for a limited time only. For example, a few of the units that I'm missing, and I'm not missing a lot, are the very original collab units, the Attack on Titan ones. They came out as a collab when the game first released. They have not been released since, and that was almost 3 years ago. So hopefully we see that soon so I can, get a couple of the units that I'm missing. But that's why it's important because, those banners may not come around again, or you might not see them for 2 or 3 years. So if it's a really, really good unit and you weren't lucky enough to be able to get MLB on it, that being +5, this is a way to level those adventurers, those assists up. And that's why gnome tickets are so important. They're not the easiest to come by, especially to save up 1,000 to 1,500 of them, right? Um, the other thing would have been that you also get the, whatever they're called, the Hero and Flame amulets. Those, once again, once you get 3 of them, you also get a bond, but these exclude limited time. So these are for your normal adventures. So that's another reason to complete those events. And like I said, there's always, always, always an event going on. So Astria Record Part 2 is going on right now. You can see that they have it until 9/9. Part 3 should release in a week, 2 weeks, something like that. I keep hearing different times, and I haven't been paying much attention. And then you always have a Heroic Trials. Heroic Trials are nice because it's going to give you a free bond for one of the banner characters that are out right now. So don't feel bad if you can't clear or S-clear EX. You can easily grind hard. It's going to take you way more stamina to achieve the items needed to get one. But the Heroic Trials are definitely worth doing every single time one comes out. Because like I said, you're going to get a free bond for one of the current banner adventurers or assists that are out. And based upon what it is, maybe you're missing, maybe you have a +4 adventurer and you want a +5, right? There's a free way to get it. Or, you have a level 60 time limited assist, pull the assist, get you a 64, start working your way up. So that's definitely something to take advantage of. The other thing is Dispatch Quest in 7th Zone. Dispatch Quest has been out for about 2 years now, so new players, they're not going to know anything about the old system. Wow, I can't speak today. Dispatch Quest is basically just a quick little easy quest where you can throw a recommended party in and, you get items for crafting your weapons and stuff like that, your basic weapons. And then you have your special boards. You guys can Google the Dispatch Quest special boards, and it'll tell you exactly what units to use for everything. So I'm not going to go too in depth with that. What are we at? 22 minutes right now? I should almost make a part 3. Actually, I think I'm going to, because I don't want to have 50 hours worth of things. So, to reiterate kind of what we went on, you should always try to complete every event that comes out. You're going to get a ton of free iris. You're going to get a ton of free rewards. You're going to get free units. You're going to get free 4-star guaranteed draws. Level up your CP on all 3 of your characters. That's going to give you bonus stats towards, those meta characters or the characters that you're using a lot. And it's going to give you a lot of free iris in the daily mission section. Like just right there from talking to somebody, I got a free 10 iris, right? Like I said, this game gives you iris just for participation. You don't really have to do anything. And then the other thing is definitely join a familia. If you can get one that uses Discord, if you've never used Discord before, some still use Line, things like that. It might be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but at the same time, in the end, it's definitely going to help you. It's a group that you can kind of become close-knit with, call it a gaming set of friends, right? That can, answer some of your questions, help you get better at the game, and you guys can learn from each other's mistakes. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video, and I guess I'm going to make a part 3. In part 3, I'm going to go over weapon crafting, Ascension, and I'll kind of show how Synergy works. I'll do a battle in the 7th Zone just to kind of go over Synergy again. I know that these videos are getting kind of long and they're crammed with just a ton of information, but for a new player, a lot of this can be extremely overwhelming. So once again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to check out part 3.